Hey!
Oh my God!
Oh my God! It's another episode.
Yeah,
Of Kentucky Fried Roadkill.
Hey, the glacier finally melted.
Yes.
Yeah.
The sun came out a little bit today. I'm actually hot right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm always hot.
Yeah. I want
I'm a
everyone.
sexy beast.
I want everybody at home to know what just happened. Is Evan walked to the corner of his room, picked up a jacket, put the jacket on, sat down in the chair, took the jacket off.
I was hot.
Why did you put it on?
So I just got out of the shower. Took
Okay.
a nice midday shower today.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
you wake up, you can deal with the morning stink,
Right.
and then by midday, you're like, I got to get this off of me so that it doesn't ruin the night.
See, I can't do that because, and this is why, my
Well,
hair.
So to finish that, I was cold coming out of the shower, so I thought I was
You
hot.
wanted a jacket.
But now I'm flush. Maybe I'm nervous.
You have the vapors.
I have the vapors.
Well, it's been so
I'm
long
in
since
heat.
we've seen one another.
Yeah. I recorded a solo episode.
Yeah. It
last
was
day.
the only way you could stay alive
Yes.
during the.
Yes, I was talking to myself anyways.
Right. Right.
So I figured I might
While
as
you
well.
were doing the solo episode, I was caribou hunting with the other gentleman in my townhouse complex.
Were you really?
No.
Well, there were probably caribou out on the streets.
You think so?
Of
You think
Lexington.
there's
It
a
was-
caribou out here?
It was a tundra.
It was.
So
It's bad.
apparently it hit the whole freaking nation.
Yeah, 73% of the continental United States was covered in snow.
And especially Texas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Poor Texas.
I laughed about it last episode.
That's not very nice.
No, not the situation.
Oh, got it.
The Ted Cruz situation.
Oh my God!
Where
What
he
a
just-
fucking tool.
Yeah, no, that was the summation of
idiot.
it. Yeah.
He's so.
He
He literally thought that nobody was gonna notice that he was leaving.
I loved his excuse. Like,
Yeah.
well,
It was my fucking kids. I'm sorry.
the kids asked to go.
Yeah,
and
what's
like
supposed to do?
Like any good parent.
Like any good parent during a global pandemic, when your kids want to go somewhere, you say, "Absolutely,
Yeah.
I want you to get COVID, baby." Of course.
Yeah. Mexico's got some sun. We'll heat you
Oh,
up.
we haven't introduced ourselves. I am your holler honey, Treyton Blackburn.
And I am your heated honey.
Oh,
Evan
a couple
Pride.
of honeys today.
Couple of
Two
honeys
honeys. Yeah.
So welcome to Kentucky Fried Roadkill. This is our 9th episode.
Yeah.
We're going strong.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do what? It's our 10th anniversary episode's coming up. So,
Oh, cute.
so we'll have
Double
to-
digits.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So also much like it doesn't add up like that. Episode 7 of WandaVision just came out.
It did.
Yes.
WandaVision, a cultural moment right now.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about it on a previous episode,
Yes.
but mostly artistic things, not
Yes.
really.
Well, the first couple episodes were a very slow burn.
Mhm.
It took until probably episode 3 or 4 until
Yeah.
things to really start unraveling, kind of start happening.
Yeah, a lot of concept establishment in those first couple of episods. Of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tropes
And I'm glad that they went slow like that because it for the fulfilling things, the things that are happening now in the show and the things that we theorize are going to happen later on.
Yeah,
For those to be fulfilling, you have to have had that moment at the beginning of the show. It's like, oh, what the fuck's going on? Wait a minute.
yeah.
Wait a minute. Who's that girl? She's
Yeah.
acting a little weird.
Well, and here's one thing that comes with the television medium that I think really helps with WandaVision is like if this were a Marvel movie, like they wouldn't have been able to do that slow burn just from the time constraint, right? Like you would have.
Well, that's what I love about the show. So we're going to go into kind of spoilery or very spoilery
Yeah.
talk. So if you're not up to speed with WandaVision,
Episode 7.
episode 7 as
Yeah.
of now, there's 2 more episodes to be released
Yep.
at the time of this recording. Just skip ahead maybe like 10, 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And if we're still talking about spoiler stuff,
Sorry.
then
Sorry.
you should have watched it. If you were that
Yeah.
into it, then
Everybody should be watching. Like, if you're not watching WandaVision right now, what are you doing? Like, it feels like everybody's watching it.
it's nice that it comes out week by week.
It is.
Because
It
I
is.
love talking about nerdy shit like this with my friends.
Yeah, me too.
You're wearing a fucking Deadpool shirt.
I am
right
wearing
now.
a Deadpool shirt right now.
Yeah, we have me and my boys back home. We have an intense MCU universe WandaVision
Oh,
theory
yeah?
discussion board going on right now.
Well, I
many
cannot
theories.
wait to receive this wisdom that you gentlemen have, and ladies maybe, and non-binary persons perhaps.
No, it's all dudes.
Oh, okay. Great. Got it.
No. One lady. Shout out Greer.
Hey, good for Greer.
She's the only girl in our boys group chat.
Boys
from
group chat.
From like way back when.
100%.
So WandaVision.
Yes.
You started saying something, and I cut you off.
I can't remember what it was.
Well, let's just get into WandaVision. The most recent episode.
Agatha Harkness.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had suspected something was up with that character for a long time.
I would listen, I didn't get
I thought she might be a red herring.
A lot of people thought that. And as a comic book nerd,
I still almost do think that she's
no.
well, I still think that there's a bigger fish.
Yeah. Well, so I'm
there's always a bigger fish.
Always. If you haven't gathered, listeners, I am a pretty huge comic book nerd.
Yeah.
I'm reading Neil Gaiman's run on Eternals right now. And day one, WandaVision, the second they introduced the neighbor, Agnes, I was watching it with my friend Jesse. He wouldn't care that I said his name on the show.
No.
So I was
watching. What up, Jesse?
Yeah, what's going on, Jesse? So I was watching it with my friend Jesse, and I literally, the second the first episode ended, I was like, that bitch is Agatha Harkness from the comics. I know it beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, so
that bitch is Agatha Harkness.
So Agatha Harkness, obviously a character from the comics.
Yes, she in the comics she's not a villain though. She is a mentor character to Wanda most of the time.
So that's the theory. The theory. The big theory I heard, and from day one when I started watching the show with Emily, she was like, I heard that the neighbor's the devil.
Well, close.
she's like, I saw that on the internet. The neighbor's the devil, so keep that in mind. And I was like, all right, maybe the neighbor's the devil. And then my buddies told me about this guy named Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto.
Who is just
the literal Judeo-Christian devil.
Yeah, as like a supervillain.
Yeah, exactly.
And so... And then there's the whole
another interesting fun fact.
There's a lot of go on.
Yeah, Mephisto has actually appeared in a piece of media before. He was the villain of Ghost Rider 2 starring Nicolas Cage.
Really?
He was. Mephisto was the villain of that movie.
The best of the Ghost Riders.
Whoa, that is a staunch opinion you have.
Yeah.
Whoa, we'll talk about that at a later date.
I remember half watching all of those. I don't think there's a single Ghost Rider movie that I didn't like fall asleep while I was watching, and it was not for lack of boredom. It was just that I was really tired for some reason at the time. Or maybe Nicolas Cage head on fire on a motorcycle just puts me to sleep.
I don't understand how it gets any better than that, to be honest with you.
It's great. He's got a fire chain that he whipped. I fucking love the
Ghost Rider rules. Anyway,
what an insane concept. So what I was saying is that there seem to be while I'm watching the show, I'm trying to figure out who all is in power right now. So at the beginning of the show, you don't know what's going on, and eventually you figure out, okay, there's this town that Wanda is seemingly
Westview, New Jersey.
Yes,
which I believe is a real place.
Yeah, probably.
We should go.
Yeah, we should go. I wonder if
if they'll get like bombarded with tourists now.
I bet they will.
And they'll be like, "Oh my god."
I wonder if every week they change the theme of the decade of the town.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, everybody's walking around. How did you like the Modern Family Office kind of episode?
I
liked it less than the others. I think they captured the spirit of the film style. I think they captured the spirit of the style of film and the camera and all that. But the heart of The Office and Modern Family of those shows are that they're fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
and the episode just wasn't that funny. So
here's what I think about episode 7. I think, and again, I'm looking at it as a director and less somebody who appreciates sitcoms. It's the episode where the things that need to be said for the show to conclude are being said, right? Like, you learn Agatha's the villain. The kids have been taken away from Wanda. The Vision figures out his past. Like all the stuff that needs to get tied up got tied up in episode 7. Like I agree that it's not as strong as the other episodes, but I think it's just because they've got to get stuff prepared.
It
for
tied everything together, and then these next 2 episodes are going to be crazy.
Yes,
it's you know, I guess there's going to be 9 episodes total in this show, so it's the start of Act 3.
Yeah, we are at the beginning of Act 3, which is typically slow in any.
The end of Act 2 is always, there's a very dark moment. It seems like the main character is down and out, and there's no way that they're going to get out of this predicament.
Right.
And oh god, maybe Wanda's evil. Maybe she's controlling this town. And oh shit, there's this other guy. And now these next 2 episodes will be. I also have been watching it from like a story structure like point of view, because you can't help. I can kind of help it in a movie because you can get kind of lost. Like, I don't know if we're 20 minutes in or 40 minutes in or where this is in the movie. But episodically, especially in a season, you know, if you know there's going to be 10 episodes in a season, it's going to have to follow a certain act structure and stuff. And so you can kind of predict things and you know that for things to kind of fulfill later on, they have to be planted earlier on. So it's kind of worthwhile going back and looking at earlier shit and like, oh, maybe this tells us about that.
Well, and one thing that Marvel Studios is doing, they're doing it with WandaVision and they're doing it with Falcon and Winter Soldier. The episode counts are divisible by 3. So there are 9 episodes of WandaVision and there are 6 episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I think making
what is Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I mean, all we really know about
is that a show that's gonna come out?
It's like Marvel has a new show releasing on Disney Plus all year long. There will be Marvel shows on Disney Plus.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it rules.
Will they all be good though? Will there be some be shitty?
I mean, I
haven't looked at the schedule.
Marvel rarely ever misses. I pretty much trust them implicitly. They haven't really missed since Thor: The Dark World, which was their last and, in my opinion, only real miss.
Yeah, well, they have
maybe the Incredible Hulk.
Maybe
was a miss.
That was a while ago, though.
It was.
That was before even like Iron Man.
It was right after Iron Man.
Right
1.
after.
Yeah,
so,
it was the second movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Marvel they've had some. Maybe they they rarely put out a bad movie.
Right.
I'll give you that. But there's some that just did not stick out as much as others.
Yeah.
And
Ant-Man and the Wasp isn't super gripping. Captain Marvel.
Nobody
isn't
liked
super
Captain
gripping.
Marvel.
Isn't super gripping.
It's because it's like you go back to you're looking at episodes. You're like, something has to happen here for something crazy to happen later. Everybody knew that Captain Marvel had to happen to set up for Endgame and all this shit. So they're like, we'll get the memo. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Not out of spite or anything.
Sure.
Just I probably should see it, but I haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp either. So
I'm one of the few holdouts. I love both the Ant-Man movies. I think it's the best franchise in the MCU. People will hate me for that opinion.
Edgar Wright directed the first one, right?
No, he did not. He was supposed to.
He was supposed to.
But he left the film over creative differences.
It has a kind of Edgar Wright style. It's very fast-paced. It's edited very quick. It's very funny.
Yeah, Peyton Reed actually directed.
I heard that the Edgar Wright script that they threw out for Ant-Man was batshit crazy, just like a great script.
I've heard that too. I don't know if it's leaked anywhere. I would love to read it.
I've heard it was like a great script, but it wasn't that Marvel formula.
Yeah.
So they're like, we shit has to happen in this, and like we can't have this film be way over here when we need it to tie into Endgame.
Well, and honestly,
they literally had the Endgame in mind.
For Marvel to work the way that it does and to be what it is, artists have to get on board with the big picture, right?
Yeah.
Like,
the idea of the whole MC universe.
Yeah, and that being something that is the common goal, right? Like,
yes.
If I were, no matter how artistically invested I was in something, if I were working for Marvel Studios, I would like to believe that I would be like, you know what? If this is going to help make Infinity War happen, I'll compromise on my vision.
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to think that I have that in me.
So what's weird is that Star Wars, another big franchise, both owned by Disney, there must be some big heads up at Marvel. They're like, we have our formula, we have our whole story, how we laid out how we want it to go. And apparently that was not the plan with Star Wars,
No.
the most recent trilogy, because Rian Johnson got in there with The Last Jedi,
which is an amazing movie,
which I really enjoyed. A lot of my friends hate it. It's so weird. Some of my friends, like, or not just my friends, people I've talked to about that movie, they either loved it the first time they watched it, and then watched it again, and then they hated it, or they loved it from day one. They're diehards, which I assume you are.
Yeah.
I loved it the first time I watched it, and then I watched it again, and I was like, okay. After I heard like people's complaints with it, I definitely didn't fucking love the Leia space moment. That's unjustifiable.
Yeah,
when
it's a
she
little
goes
much.
out, yeah, that is unjustifiable in my brain.
Yeah.
But I liked Last Jedi. I do not like how it fucked up the trilogy. Because it would have been the whole third movie. I just watched it recently again with Emily. It sucks so much because they're just trying to pick up the pieces of like, oh, well, fucking Ryan really fucked us here. Fucking bring Palpatine back.
Well, I mean, and here's what Rian Johnson, as playing, part of a trilogy, what I think he was going for is in like secondary Star Wars lore, there's this idea called the Gray Jedi, and they're essentially Force users who can work with both the light and the dark side of the Force.
Yes.
And I think that is what he was, because he was dealing so much with like
kind of what Rey is, right?
I mean, not in the third movie.
Not in the third
not.
one, yeah, but
I
liked the wrench that Last Jedi threw in it. I love it that Luke is fallible. He's a fallible character.
And I mean, one of my favorite pieces of dialogue in the whole Star Wars trilogy is when Luke is like, when the Jedi were at the pinnacle of their power, they let Darth Vader happen.
Yeah.
Like, that is like the ownership of the Jedi being a fallible group, and the light side of the Force not being this, perfect magical energy is the route that they should have taken.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Well, it's because the whole idea of the whole original Star Wars trilogy and what they really fucking dug into with the prequel, with like the fucking Galactic Senate and all this shit, was the idea of like the Empire and these rebel groups and the idea of rebellion and a overpowering force, and there's all these metaphors for, it's like it came out during Vietnam, and there's all this shit to it, and then so it kind of runs with it, and it's kind of a very I mean, you'll probably know more about this idea, the idea that's kind of like a socialist, kind of leftist, kind of it has like those themes, and George Lucas is very much that kind of guy. And so that had all that aspects of like the Empire and the dark side is supposedly all that stuff. And then I thought it was interesting that they were starting to go, because that's all you heard. You only heard bad shit about the Empire and all this shit. And I liked where it was starting to go, because with this elite group of Jedi, with the Jedi Council, and that they might be corrupt too. And that there's just corrupt.
Or not even corrupt.
Not
just
corrupt,
like
but just
fallible people.
Yeah, not perfect.
Right.
Yeah, and Yoda makes mistakes. He should have like punched Palpatine in the fucking dick when he had the chance. And all this shit. And
the Yoda monologue at the end of Last Jedi, when he's like, the greatest teacher failure is. Our pupils grow, they grow beyond what we are. They are better than us.
Yeah.
And I just think that I think a lot of the fan reaction to Last Jedi, some of it, and perhaps a lot of it, was born out of love for what Star Wars was and not wanting it to develop into something more morally ambiguous.
And they were misled by Force Awakens, because Force Awakens was a nostalgia jerk-off fest.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, I fucking loved Force Awakens.
Sure.
I cried on the opening crawl.
Yeah.
I was like, it's Star Wars in theaters. I was like, I'm seeing it with my dad. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And fucking and it was just an action-packed movie, and Harrison Ford was like, I'll do it. I'll do another movie, but you have to kill me. You have to promise.
You have to kill Han
and
Solo.
I'm not coming back. Even though he kind of did. He did like a voiceover or something.
Well, and here's
One of the more recent ones.
Like, I don't like J.J. Abrams, period. I don't like him. I like some of the stuff he's made, but as a creator, his mystery box philosophy troubles me. That he's like, I don't know where anything's going to go. I'm just going to put a lot of mysteries out there with no answers.
He does do that.
And he passes the buck off to other creators to solve his mysteries.
Well, okay, I like J.J. Abrams in his projects that he works on, like Super 8.
Yeah, Super 8's great.
He had a show called Fidelity way back in the day. I think he was one of the original producers on Lost.
But everybody hates the way Lost ended.
Yeah,
I've never seen Lost, but everybody hates it.
So what you're saying is great, because if Lost was, maybe not if Lost was a movie, but if Lost was a trilogy, the first movie would be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Because
the mysteries.
Because the mysteries. Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't have answers to them.
That's a good point. I've never really thought about that. I just love Super 8.
Because
he had answers to that movie.
I love Super 8. Super 8 rules.
Yeah.
But look at
Star Trek.
I don't know nothing about Star Trek at all.
He also I've always found it funny that he was starting the new Star Wars trilogy with Force Awakens, because when they redid Star Trek in 2011, 12, something
Whatever.
like that. the one that debuted with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
As a fucking the Trekkie guy or whatever.
Captain Kirk.
Yeah, he directed that movie too.
Yeah,
J.J. Abrams. So what about his box of mysteries that you don't like?
It's just that he doesn't he creates mysteries with no answers. And if you don't have an answer in mind and you rely on somebody else to answer your questions for you, of course the ending's going to be lackluster because you didn't think it through. Like, it's one thing about WandaVision, right? Is
they know where they're going.
They know where they're going. Like, they set up these mysteries in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And they're paying off because they knew that, like, day one, they're like, Agnes is Agatha Harkness. She's pulling the strings. We're going to build to that.
Yes. Another great example, Breaking Bad. Vince,
never seen it.
Never seen it?
My in-laws love it, but I've never seen it.
You should really watch it because I think you'd enjoy it. It's 5 short seasons.
5 seasons is the perfect number for a show.
It's great acting, and it could have gone 1 season shorter, I think. But Vince Gilligan knew pretty much exactly what he wanted that show to be and where he wanted it to go from day one. You know, there were some things just like, oh, I decided not to kill off Jesse Pinkman after episode 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that changed. But, like, he knew where that show wanted to go, and that show had one of... I actually have not seen the last season of Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those shows that I've started a million times, and I get all the way through it, and for some reason, the furthest I got up to season 5, and I just stopped.
Yeah.
But I heard, the word is that Breaking Bad, the last 2 episodes, is one of the best finales of all time.
I've also heard that. Never seen it, but
Never
I've heard
seen it. Yeah. On the other hand, the other big show of the previous decade was Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones was awesome. It had an outline of books to go off of.
But no ending.
Because it wasn't written yet.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking what's
George
that
R.R. Martin.
George R.R. Martin.
Yeah.
He's fucking still writing it right now. And I think once that
the race is the books or him dying. One of the two is going to happen.
He'll probably die before the books.
Oh, that would be right? Wouldn't that suck?
I bet it would. I bet he. I don't know if he's thinking about that at all. I think he's just. I really don't know what his mindset is. Is he just trying to pump out a bunch of books and just keep the money rolling in until he dies?
Because he.
Or how old is he?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be in his 60s or 70s for sure.
Okay.
But like he's
a healthy man.
He's got I don't know about all that. But he's got, we know when the books end. Like, he's told us how many more books there are. He just hasn't written them.
Yeah, yeah. And I believe that
he knows where it's going.
Yeah.
He just can't get there.
He's just fucking slow. In the show, they ran out of books to make the show out of, and so they started going into their own territory.
Yeah.
And they don't know what's going on. They're like, okay, well, wouldn't it be cool if they're like guys who watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
Who I'm putting this all on them.
Yeah.
They're big fans. They worked with them every step of the way, but they didn't know where George R.R. Martin was going with it. Yeah.
Well, in the
I assumed George R. R. Martin had some say in the show.
He did for the first few seasons. I didn't watch Game of Thrones. Tara and I tried to start it. We watched.
That's another one that I have not finished, but I'm okay with that I didn't finish.
Tara and I watched the first 5 episodes, and like after the first episode, we were like, "Well, let's watch another one. And we'll give it a try." And we kept watching them. And eventually, we got to episode 5, and we were like, "We just can't get into this. We can't watch this."
If you don't like the first episode, and the first episode's so good. But if you don't like it, then you're not going to like the show.
Here's my problem.
Because it has enough like betrayal, like under the hand, everything about that show, the violence is all that titties, it's all there.
Here's my problem with my experience with Game of Thrones. It was just humorless. It was humorless.
That is that's very bad, and
I can't get into it.
That's a big reason why it's very hard for me to watch certain shows. For certain dramas, like holy shit, have you watched Ozark? I heard Ozark is actually very good. I've also heard
Ozark is very good.
So I need to watch that. But it's like, holy shit, have you watched Orange is the New Black or like all these shows? I did watch Orange is the New Black, and I kind of enjoyed it for like a season or two, and then it fell off or whatever. But those shows are just so humorless. Yeah, You're right. You're just, if you don't care about the plot, then you're just watching it like, these guys are so serious. And they're just like, who fucking cares? This fucking losers.
Yeah, this is way too harsh. This is too harsh a vibe for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to chill. That's why I've seen every episode of South Park 1,800 times.
Well, and it's, we can all, with WandaVision in mind, we can tie this back to the grand success that is the MCU. Like everything it does, it fucking hits. Like it hits everything it needs to do right.
I couldn't believe when they got just the first Avengers. Like
I know.
When they tied all those different movies together, and you're just like, holy shit. And meanwhile, I remember after I watched the first Avengers, I was like, I can't believe it. Holy shit, they brought all the shit together. How did they know Captain America might know Iron Man or like all these things? And they're like, this is just fucking phase one. Just you wait.
Whenever they fucking have Thanos at the end of the Avengers.
I didn't even know what that was. I just didn't even think about it.
As a young comic book nerd, when I saw that shit in the theaters the very first time in 2012, I lost my fucking mind. I was on the roof. I was like, they are not going to do Thanos.
So you probably know a good bit about kind of the history of comic book movies. When was like the best decade to be alive as a comic book nerd?
I am of the opinion it is
and I'm thinking, because I know there's probably old comics in like the 60s and stuff that were probably awesome and shit. I'm thinking of in terms of how how comics are portrayed in the media. So like Marvel, when Iron Man took off and the MC universe really started developing, in my mind, that if you were a comic book guy, you were just into, and like fucking even Iron Man 2, which was a bad movie.
Yep.
the
Whiplash.
Whiplash.
Yeah.
I remember I have a buddy of mine, Ryan Hines. He wouldn't mind that I said his name.
Sure.
Big fucking comic book nerd. Absolute
biggest nerd.
Dweeb.
Got it.
Just and he like people like him, every time there's like a little fucking character in the back of a frame of a trailer, he's like, holy fucking shit, they're bringing in Dweebledies. Like, holy shit. And I know what that's like personally, because I'm really into stand-up, and so I know a million fucking stand-up comics, and every time one like little stand-up gets like a role in a big movie, and like Bill Burr, he's been in a bunch of movies recently, and every time he was hosting SNL, and when I saw that, I was like, holy fucking shit, it's happening.
It's happening.
But I know no one really cares, so I know that's probably what that would have been like in this past decade. It's like being a Patriots fan. It sucked until it didn't.
Being a comic book fan was absolutely the best in the 2010s.
Yeah, and let's
That was the
let's also
decade.
recognize you weren't alive.
No.
Past.
But like I remember when the first X-Men movie came out, which was like the first real big comic book movie since Superman, the Superman movies with Christopher Reeves.
Was that was early 2000s?
Yeah, it was like
2004?
2000. Yeah, 2003, 2004.
When did the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans come out? Because those
Same
were big.
time frame, 04, 05, 06. But like, here's the thing about those movies, right? Is they were superhero movies that like tried as desperately as they could to pretend like they weren't comic book movies.
Yeah, they're like blockbuster movies. They're like blockbuster 2000s
Action movies
that were like featuring Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so like once you got to, and Iron Man was that a little bit, but really because I think Thor was the first comic book movie that said, this is a comic book movie. It's gonna be comic booky. We're doing a comic book movie.
Yeah. Thor was one of those movies that really brought that Marvel sense of humor into it. It was a very serious, just actiony thing.
Yeah,
and just
it was colorful. And the costumes were goofy.
That's what made Thor fun. Was that Chris Hemsworth was fucking this big guy, and he was like, "What is a mug?" He's like, "I'll have another," and he throws it down, and that was and that one was the first comic book. I'm trying to think if this is a correct statement. That was the first Marvel movie where they're like, we're going to another world. We're going to Odin.
Yeah, we're going to Asgard.
Asgard,
baby.
yeah, and that's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
Before that, they're like, we're going to World War II.
Yeah. Well,
Captain America.
And they said that they had, at that point, they brought in Kenneth Branagh to direct, which is a fantastic choice. For
I love
Thor
Kenneth
movie.
Branagh.
He's amazing.
I was wondering where you were about to go for that.
No,
I was
love
like,
Kenneth Branagh.
because a lot of people, they have mixed opinions on him, but
He's
they're
great.
normally Shakespeare nerds. They're like, I didn't like his Henry V.
Oh,
But,
well.
yeah, whatever.
Anyway, I think that, and they brought him to Thor to bring a sort of, Shakespearean quality to the film.
Yeah.
And having like Tom Hiddleston as Loki was a brilliant cast.
Great
Anthony
cast.
Hopkins was Odin.
There's something to be majorly said, as good as Marvel is about planning out their stories and where they're going and their sense of humor and their fucking formula and all their things. I think at the heart of it is their casting.
Yes.
They get it right.
Did you know
Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man.
Uh-huh.
There will never be another Iron Man.
And I mean, you weren't a comic book nerd growing up. So when I was young, I remember when the casting process was happening for Iron Man. Like, people knew an Iron Man movie was happening and that Marvel was making it. And the question was who Tony Stark was going to be. And
so you were old enough to be thinking about like the world when that, because I was still like a kid.
Yeah.
Were you up on the like Dark Knight? They're gonna cast Heath Ledger as Dark Knight, and
that was before me.
That was before you.
Tony Stark was the first casting. I really remember being hyper invested.
Those were both like 2007, 2008.
Yeah, but I was always a Marvel fan.
Yeah.
DC was,
and
never
I guess
my
the big
bag.
thing about that was like Heath Ledger. He's this heartthrob, and he's gonna play Joker, and you probably didn't know about like 16 Candles or whatever the fuck he was in.
Exactly.
A Million and One Ways Why I Love You and Hate You at the same time.
Right.
Whatever the fucking movie he was in.
And let me tell you, when Iron Man was being cast, the rumor was that Tom Cruise was going to be Tony Stark.
Oh.
And everybody wanted it. Everybody was like, there's no other cast. It has to be Tom Cruise.
You could put Tom Cruise as Batman. I would maybe allow that as like a old shitty like 2000s.
Sure.
We did this once. We almost made Nick Cage Superman one time.
Yeah.
So a lot of things happened down here.
Right. Well, and when Robert Downey Jr. was cast, everybody was like, what?
Yeah, because they're
the
like,
drug,
what?
The drug guy?
The drug guy? Yeah.
Is Tony Stark? And now, like, you just can't separate Tony Stark from Robert Downey Jr. Like, they are so synonymous with one another because he was just so perfect.
What are some other good castings that Marvel
Chris
got right?
Evans as Captain America.
That was good.
Perfect.
I remember that. That one really confused me at first because I didn't understand the whole like Fox licensing thing. Like
Sure. Fox
owned Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and all these different properties that are technically Marvel, but Fox owns them. And so I was like, Chris Evans, I loved him as fucking Flaming Torch. I was the Flaming Torch one
The
Halloween.
Human Torch?
The Human Torch. Yeah. That's how superficial of a comic book nerd I am. Like, I'm really just a TV film geek and stuff. So like when they make big pictures about it, big pictures. What am I?
The big pictures.
The big picture
at the theater.
They're making Batman.
They're doing Batman with Orson Welles. It'll be brilliant.
Did you hear that Adam West was just cast as Batman?
Adam West's Batman is my favorite Batman.
I was talking about that on on my little solo. I briefly mentioned it how fucking wacky
love
and his fucking shark spray.
Yeah,
and he's running around with a fucking bomb, and he's like almost throws it in.
You can never find a good place to get rid of a bomb.
Yeah, I forgot that line.
Fucking great, dude.
Oh my god, he almost throws
fucking
it.
Burgess Meredith's penguin.
Yeah, I love those.
I have
ones.
all 3 seasons of that show on DVD.
That's a when was that made? 60s,
70s, yeah.
Good show.
You know, I think I read somewhere that the Marvel casting director, they've been using the same casting director since day one, and she's been in charge. I can't remember her name at the moment, but
oh, ma'am, you are killing it.
Yeah, she's killing the game casting.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my god.
I think
Dave Bautista as Drax.
I think Marvel is really cool in that they'll pick out like an actor that maybe you're familiar with, like Chris, who's the
Star-Lord. Chris Pratt. Yeah.
Great example. They picked out, it was like, okay, this guy, he's like a funny guy, but you can't, maybe we can see him in an action movie. He killed bin Laden in that one movie, so maybe he could beat up aliens, and so they put him in there, and they always get ripped. Kumail Nanjiani got fucking jacked. He got cast as a Marvel hero. They always get fucking ripped.
He's in the Eternals, which I'm reading right now. I'm reading Neil Gaiman's run on the Eternals because I know nothing about them. They're like one of the few comic book properties that when Marvel was like, we're making an Eternals movie, I was like, who?
Yeah, that was my reaction.
And so I started reading the Eternals. They're bonkers. They are fucking batshit bonkers. They're literally, I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not simplifying. They're ancient aliens. That's what they are.
Okay.
The concept is the Eternals are this race of aliens that visited humanity back in the past, and they are the gods. So, like, one of them's name is Mercari. Mercari, who's being played by a woman in the Eternals movie, is Mercury. Like, is the Roman god Mercury.
Oh, okay, not the planet.
Is the Roman god
who the
Mercury.
Planet was named after, probably.
Yeah. And they were created by this race of, like, uber gods called the Celestials.
Okay.
And were placed to defend the Earth.
And then in a decade from now, they'll release the Celestials movie.
The Celestials are... We've seen the Celestials in the MCU. You remember in Guardians of the Galaxy when they're talking to the Collector? And they showed that video, like the giant with the big stick, and it destroys a whole planet with the Power Stone?
Yes.
That's a Celestial.
Yes. And remember in... What was it? Maybe it was Infinity War? No, I'm thinking of... when Peter Dinklage played the giant.
Oh, yeah, the dwarf, Eitri.
Yeah, that was fucking great.
Yeah, and Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, is a Celestial.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a whole fucking planet and all that shit.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, that was a good movie. Yeah, they just have casting right, and it's kind of gotten to a point where like you just kind of are on the lookout for like little celebrities, like who's gonna be next.
Well, and spoilers for WandaVision.
Jack Black gonna be a superhero.
The big rumor about WandaVision with this aerospace engineer that keeps getting dropped that we've not met yet. The rumor is that it's going to be Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four, played by John Krasinski. Is the rumor that John Krasinski is going to be the Reed Richards of the MCU?
I can believe that. So
that's a great cast.
So we've been dancing around. Maybe we'll just call this episode just WandaVision talk or something.
Yeah.
Because we're dancing around it the whole time. So if you haven't watched WandaVision,
watch WandaVision.
Don't listen to this episode until you watch it, or listen to this episode and watch us spoil it.
Yeah.
So there are many theories about WandaVision.
Yeah.
there's a lot. Kind of how I said earlier. There's a lot of different powers at play. Some people, are going through it. There are thoughts that came into my head. I was like, is Wanda controlling this whole thing? Okay, the neighbor, seems to be evil. Is she controlling the whole thing? Yeah. Okay, there's someone probably who's pulling the strings on her and making her do stuff. Okay, there's this military project going on.
Yeah.
And with the craziness of everything that's going on right now, I think that I know that Marvel, and looking at the big picture of stuff, as Marvel does, so I will do that to them as a Marvel viewer.
Yeah.
I think the new Spider-Man. They have, it's like a big thing on the internet that the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man
and Andrew
Garfield and Tom Holland will all be in one movie.
Yeah.
So that kind of gets at this, because Marvel recently acquired Fox.
Yep.
So they have plans to bring all the Spider-Mans and the Fantastic Four into the MCU at some point. So, and to do that, they're going to have to, because they already kind of introduced it, and the X-Men too.
Yeah.
Because they already kind of introduced the concept of it with Quicksilver being recast, which, by the way, favorite fucking line of the show so far.
She recast Pietro?
She recast Pietro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the...
And where I was going with that is, the big thing is, I think this is leading them into the whole idea of the multiverse and different
that
dimensions.
Seems to be...
all that.
So as a comic book... As the resident comic book nerd in the room... The multiverse seems to be where they're going. And what was a really important reveal for comic fans in the last episode... Oh, no.
No, we're good. I just disconnected my
headphones. Evan just unplugged a cord, and I was like,
we're
no,
good.
It's the end of time.
We just lost the whole thing.
Yeah.
No,
but
I just unplugged my headphones.
Was the commercial for the antidepressant, Nexus.
The commercials are really fun.
They're great.
Yes.
Yeah. But Nexus.
I remember watching that one in particular, and I don't know what you're saying, but I don't know what you're about to say. I don't even know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I was remembering watching that, thinking, should I be like reading into this a whole bunch? Or
you should be.
Okay.
Because
because in the moment I was like, fuck it, we'll just go on. It's probably nothing. Each commercial is a little hint at something.
Well, each commercial
larger.
Represents a different piece of Wanda's life, as I see it. So the first commercial for the toaster, the Stark toaster, is the bomb that almost killed her and Pietro, which is why she was one of the villains of Age of Ultron.
Yes.
Because she had a vendetta against Tony Stark.
I forgot that going into this series that she started off as like a terrorist.
Yeah. And then the second commercial, which is for the watch, the Strucker watch. Baron Strucker was the Hydra scientist who gave her powers.
Okay.
Then the third commercial, which is for the Hydra soap. I think it's the Hydra soap.
I remember the word Hydra.
Yeah, it's the Hydra soap, and that's she got her powers from Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth commercial is the Lagos paper towels, which references the Lagos disaster in Civil War when she blows up the building by trying to contain an explosion on Crossbones.
Yes.
The fifth commercial...
God, there's so much that happened in
Marvel. The Yo Magic commercial shows the kid who's starving to death trying to open the fucking fruit snack container or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And a shark gives it to him. A shark gives Yo Magic, meaning she's received magic from someone dangerous.
I remember that. I
it's
remember watching that one, being like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, what's going on?
Show.
And the Nexus commercial. So in the comics, Scarlet Witch is what is known as a Nexus being, and what that means is that Scarlet Witch is present and the same across the multiverse. Like every version of Scarlet Witch is the exact same.
Okay. Okay. So there's pretty much only one Scarlet Witch,
right? And so that exists across all the multiverses.
Okay. So are there multiples of her? They're just the same one, or if she went to another one, would she be like, "Hey, what's up?" And
so like there are multiple Scarlet Witches, but they are all the exact same.
Okay.
Like
so the minute one found out about the multiverse, they would all found out.
Exactly.
About it. Okay.
So I don't know if the MCU is going to do that because that's a very, comic booky thing to do.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Comic books can do big shit and then just be like series 3 and then just.
But they will do, I think, something to the effect of Wanda Maximoff is the center of the multiverse. Like she is the linchpin of reality.
Yeah, I kind of have been watching it because with the idea about the multiverse in mind, I've kind of been watching it and thinking that she will be the grenade pin that blows up and breaks open the multiverse. But whenever I think of dimensions and because of that shit, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So I've been assuming that at some point she'll start fucking with time and all this stuff, and Doctor Strange will be like, "What's going on?" And come down and
she is the co-star of of Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Scarlet Witch will be the co-star alongside Doctor Strange in that movie.
That's gonna be a great movie.
That's gonna rule. Yeah, it's gonna be. And here's my theory. Okay.
Doctor Strange, the first one was so good.
Here's my theory as I see it right now. So Agatha Harkness in the comics is a witch who's been alive for several thousand years. She survived the Salem witch trials, and she is in league.
I love it, just implying that there were actual witches at the Salem witch trials.
Yeah. And she, her whole thing is she has a deal with Mephisto that gives her magic. She in the comics. So obviously, Vision is a synthezoid robot.
Yes, and that could open up. I won't get into that right now, but that could open up a whole other discussion. Is Vision actually alive? How is he alive? What's going on there?
And so obviously, Vision can't biologically give Wanda children. So what happened in the comics was Wanda used her reality warping powers to essentially make herself pregnant.
Okay, I had heard a theory about this. From one of my friends that it was essentially because I had asked, I was like, "What's the deal with the kids? Are they real? Are they half robot, half magic, or whatever's going on there?" And they said that they think that Wanda made a deal with the devil to have kids or had kids and took it. The way that she had kids was that she did it by borrowing of the power of some evil powers or whatever, and that's why it's starting to kind of corrupt her, and she's kind of losing grasp of what's going on.
This is what I think it has happened.
Okay,
Wanda after Endgame, because this is just weeks after Endgame.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine.
Yeah,
because the girl in the car, she's like, yeah, just a week ago they brought everybody back, half the world was gone, and Wanda was distraught over the loss of Vision. Mm-hmm.
Sword had Vision's body for 5 years at that point, taking him apart, trying to figure out what's going on with him.
Wait. This is 5 years
between the snap and
I guess
gets brought back.
Life goes on in between the snap and when the snap gets reversed, it's just everybody appears again, but time is still
time has passed.
Okay,
yeah.
That
so Wanda's been gone for 5 years. Sword has had the Vision's body. I think Wanda was approached by Agatha Harkness, and she doesn't remember it, and said, "Hey, my name is Agatha Harkness. I have powers too. I can help you bring the Vision back to life. I can give you the life that you want with Vision." Agatha Harkness is in league with Mephisto. Mephisto is trying to enter the world. Agatha, even in the first few episodes, is trying to push Wanda into seducing the Vision for the theater of getting her pregnant magically. I think that Agatha Harkness is trying to help Mephisto enter the world. I think they've Rosemary'd babied Wanda Maximoff.
So are you suggesting that the kids are Mephisto?
I think there are pieces of Mephisto in them.
Okay, because I've heard theories that Agatha, her husband, I think, have they
Ralph.
shown him?
No, we haven't seen him yet.
Ralph, there's theories that he's Mephisto.
Yeah.
There's
which I subscribe to. I believe that.
That makes sense. There's theories that fucking Quicksilver coming back. That's like Mephisto in disguise or whatever. That's my buddy Ryan's theory. Not comic book Ryan. He probably has a much more well thought out theory.
And with Sword, which I think is the plot point that gets overlooked because it's so Wanda-centric, as it should be.
Yeah.
But Project Cataract, they've been working on the Vision. Cataract is a very fun title because they're clouding Vision, essentially.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That is fun.
So,
they have fun.
And Tyler Hayward, the director of Sword, has a just powerful hatred for superpowered people, it seems.
Yes.
What I think he's doing...
Okay, finish your thought.
What I think that Sword is doing with Vision's body is they are using the Vision's technology to create Sentinels, sentient weapons capable of killing superheroes.
Okay.
Instead of the bigotry being against mutants specifically, the X-Men connection is going to be the government, the Sokovia Accords, keeping them in check doesn't work. So now we have to build weapons to try to kill them in case they ever step out of line.
Yeah.
And that's where it's going.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because the whole idea of X-Men and the superhero stuff, they talk up. There's the one character, I keep forgetting her name, the Monica
Rambeau.
Yes. Yeah. So what is happening with her character is that she now seems to have some sort of superpowers after she has entered the Hex. She kind of looks like Storm.
A little bit.
I just thought of that. She had the blue eyes now. Yeah. If she ends up with white hair, I'm gonna be like Storm.
If they turn Monica Rambeau into Storm, because Monica Rambeau is Photon in the comics.
Okay.
Yeah, and Monica Rambeau is a great character.
So she's becoming a superhero or whatever.
100%.
So I heard this theory from my buddy Jacob. Shout out Jacob. He theorized that the whole town of Westview. Because they talked about how when Monica, when she was going in and out of the Hex, she came out and her DNA was like kind of permanently altered from being in there so long.
Right.
And the car when she tried to drive into it came out and it was permanently altered. Mm-hmm. So I think, or his theory, which made sense to me, and I'm immediately claiming as my theory too, is that somehow the town of Westview will kind of be nuked into them all becoming mutants.
Ground zero from the mutant population.
For the mutant population and X-Men and all that. So
I think
that'd be awesome if that's where it was going. And somehow they tied in Fantastic Four. What if they just started like 8 new movie series all crammed into the last 2 episodes of the show?
I think that this is going to be the beginning of mutants in the MCU, however it shakes out. Yes. I believe so too. I believe that and I believe that the arc of the MCU going forward is going to be the Earth conflict will be not like the Sokovia Accords can't control superheroes, so we have to be able to police them. Yes. That's going to lead to the next Civil War or Avengers versus X-Men or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah, that's going to be that conflict. And
God, I love Marvel because you always I am not even thinking one step ahead. I am watching the movie that I'm watching and I'm
thinking 1,000 steps ahead.
Yeah, and Marvel is literally like, and back in the day, in about 15 years, we're planning Godzilla versus Iron Man.
And you're like, holy shit.
Holy fucking shit. King Kong's in this movie.
Yeah. And the cosmic conflict is going to be the multiverse. And I'm calling it right now. If it happens, I'm a prophet. I think Marvel is going to introduce a cosmic character called the Beyonder, who was...
maybe heard about that.
So the Beyonder is a being that exists outside the multiverse. And he's
like a god, kind of.
Beyond a god.
Beyond a god. Oh, yeah, because
he's the Beyonder.
Oh, okay. Because the Sentinels are kind of like gods.
Well, they're machines built to kill, mutants traditionally.
Okay. Or no, not the Sentinels.
The Celestials are
Celestials.
gods.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So the Beyonder, in the comics, develops an obsession with Marvel's Earth and all the superpowered beings that exist there. And he becomes fascinated, like, why and how different people use their powers for good or for evil.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of if the whole MC universe, the whole like boiling point, the ultimate end game was like a Sims game where you play as Beyonder and you're like controlling all the where they just have all the
what
characters.
The Beyonder does is he destroys the Marvel universe and takes a bunch of planets and puts them together into one giant planet that he calls Battle World.
Jesus.
And he kidnaps all the heroes of Earth and all the villains of Earth, puts them on Battle World, and says, you two groups are going to fight each other, and whoever wins, I will give a boon. It's a super 80s comic book story. It was designed to sell toys. It's super fun.
Yeah.
But I think, and it was called Secret Wars, because after it ended, the Beyonder turned everything back to normal and erased everybody's memory. Nobody remembers that the Secret War happened.
Okay. It's very comic booky.
It's very comic booky.
Comic books always end with like, and then after all this, like at the end of the last page, it's either someone woke up and the whole story was a dream, or it's like, and then Thanos snapped and everything went back in time 10 years, and none of that happened.
And I don't think they're gonna do that 1-to-1, right? Like I don't think they're gonna do that. But I think the Beyonder is going to be the next Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the next end game is going to be some sort of adaptation of Secret Wars.
Yeah.
That's what I think
have to have
going toward.
The wars in the title.
Yeah.
People see the Secret Wars trailer, they'll be like, holy shit, it's like Infinity Wars, but they ain't keeping this one a secret.
Yeah.
He's like, they somehow got bigger than Infinity.
Yeah. Oh my God, they brought back, and like to do Secret Wars, you're going to have to bring back a bunch of villains. Like, the villains are a core part of Secret Wars. And the Beyonder can bring people back from the dead because he's so supremely powerful.
So they could fucking Robert Downey Jr. He's never gonna be done playing Iron Man.
No.
He will be 100 years old, and they will be rolling him in
in a wheelchair
for super mega complex wars. And he'll be like the new Stan Lee. He'll have a cameo.
He'll have a cameo in all
every
the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a question.
Sure.
Looking at the short term, one thing that Marvel cannot do is bring Chadwick Boseman back from the dead.
I know.
So
breaks my heart.
I've heard that they don't have plans to recast him.
They've said wholeheartedly we will not recast T'Challa.
I think I've maybe asked you about this before.
Yeah.
I asked who becomes what did they do with Black Panther, and I think you said it becomes his sister.
His little sister, sure.
Okay, right.
Black Panther. Yeah.
Okay.
And she's great. Love her character.
Yeah.
She'll be great.
Sure.
I don't
as
know.
cool as T'Challa.
Are they gonna here's my question. Is T'Challa just not gonna be the Black Panther? Or are we gonna have to watch a sad Black Panther funeral in the next Black Panther movie?
That's what I'm wondering.
Because after watching Tony Stark's funeral, I'm just not sure I can take it. I'm like, please. I was so pissed when they killed Tony Stark. It's a beautiful ending for the character. It's exactly how he should go out.
Yeah.
But gosh, it broke my heart. I love Tony Stark so much.
They killed Captain. I love what they did with Captain America's character.
It's genius.
It's genius. I was like, oh my God, that's so fucking great. And just to remind myself and the audience, he goes back in time. Mm-hmm. He somehow, I forget how Endgame ended. He had all the Infinity Stones.
He has to take them back to correct the timeline.
Yeah. He correct the timeline, and he goes back and he lives with his girl from the fucking 40s.
Yeah,
and it has a full life. That's so fucking cool.
Well, I've seen, because the Russo brothers, I think they're geniuses. And in the writers' room, it was like Kevin Feige, the Russo brothers, Christopher Marcus, Stephen McFeely, the writers of the movie, and they were.
Wait a minute! I just remembered that Falcon or Hawk or whatever that guy's name was.
Yeah,
he became Captain America, right?
He did. Yep.
So does that mean there's going to be a new Falcon?
No. Typically,
there's a whole series coming out, right?
Yeah, Falcon. It's still him.
Oh, Falcon is Winter Soldier.
No, Falcon and Bucky Barnes is also in the show.
Let me tell you, Bucky Barnes. That's one of there's a couple characters in the whole Marvel universe that are very important, and I just wish they weren't as important as they were. And Bucky Barnes is one of those.
Wow.
Characters. He's just so nothing.
Well, maybe the show will remedy that. Maybe we'll get some. I mean, I agree with you, but maybe the show will make him a much.
I think the heart of Bucky Barnes' character was that he was Captain America's. They were brothers in arms.
Yeah.
During World War II, and I love the idea of Winter Soldier, that they brought back his old buddy to fight against him and stuff.
Yeah.
But after they got past that, and he was like, "Okay, now you're on our team." Now he's just a guy with 1940s military training and a robotic arm, just beating up people, and I don't know. Those one of those characters that just went stale, you know.
Yeah.
Not that any of the characters are bad.
The trailers for Falcon Winter Soldier, it looks a lot like almost like an 80s style buddy cop movie.
So that's the thing that I'm optimistic about, that Marvel is really good at doing, which they've kind of done with Wanda and Vision.
Mm-hmm.
So before WandaVision, these were two characters, and I said it on this show, and to all my friends and family, I said, I fucking hate Wanda and Vision. Those characters, they fucking suck. They don't do anything. They're just, everybody's fighting, and they're off smooching in the corner.
Yeah. And
it seemed like a shoehorned in love story, and now, and WandaVision has made me really like the characters.
Yeah.
So if, and
Vision has become my favorite character in the MCU during WandaVision.
I wouldn't go that far, but they presented a new side of him, to where, because he was always a robot, and so like you can kind of get past him being a little humorless, being a robot, but now he has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
He never, Vision always bored me. I always loved him as Jarvis. I don't know how a computer program had more character
than a superhero
in those movies, but WandaVision,
I don't know,
has changed my perception of and I think it changed the character. It didn't abandon anything, but it let you see much more of them, and by doing that, made them much more likable. So if they make Falcon Winter Soldier like a buddy cop thing, then I assume those buddy cop old 80s movies are funny. So I assume they'll be funny, and everything wraps back to humor. My fucking basic brain.
Like. But Vision and Wanda both had some really good moments, especially in Age of Ultron. I think I rewatched Age of Ultron the other day.
I need to rewatch that. Because
at the end when he's in the fucking woods with Ultron, and he's like, Ultron's like, they're doomed, and he's like, yes, but a thing's not beautiful because it lasts. And Ultron's like, you're unbearably naive, and he's like, well, I was born yesterday. I mean, that's such a good scene.
I forgot kind of the whole storyline of Age of Ultron because
it's bananas.
Because I enjoyed the actor that played Ultron. I didn't very much enjoyed the character of Ultron. I just was like, this robot's so fucking serious. This robot's so fucking gloom and doom. Where do you
He's very funny though.
He is pretty funny. I was like, where do you get this attitude from?
Yeah,
I don't know. Everything Tony Stark creates seems to have a personality for some reason.
Well, and here's a question that I have about Ultron. Like, once you accept the premise that Ultron is an AI that like reasons that humanity has to be destroyed, you can get there. But it's really hard for me to get over that point. Like, what is it about humanity? Like, his literal design purpose is to protect humanity. Like, why does he reason that humanity must be destroyed?
That's all the robot movies do that. To Terminator 2, it's like robots get smart, and then eventually, when they run it through the mathematics, not keeping like ethics or morals or any of that calculated into it.
Right.
Then they always come out, it's like, oh, humans are killing the planet, they're killing each other, they're killing everything.
Yeah.
Essentially, these are just creatures that kill and fuck each other to create more killers, so we'll get rid of them.
Which is why...
But then aren't the robots, can't they, from a logical standpoint, be like, but then we become the killers, and then we're just a...
Exact. So, like, what I wish they would have done with Ultron... And I don't know if they've done it in the comics or not. I've not read enough Ultron stories to know. But Isaac Asimov's 3 rules for robotics, like, they're so intelligent. Like,
is that the
they can't a robot can't kill a human being or through inaction.
That's like iRobot.
Yeah.
Great fucking movie.
Yeah, I love iRobot.
Great
so
fucking
good.
movie.
So
but is
like
Ex Machina too. Ex Machina is a really good movie.
What I think would have been more interesting is if Ultron, instead of wanting to kill, like, he doesn't. His charge is not to protect humanity, but to protect the world. And he reasons that the best way to protect the world is to get rid of humanity and have robots be the new race, right? Like, robots rule the world.
Which like that's what keeps me up. That's what scares me the most. That's what, when I can't sleep at night and
when artificial intelligance
when it gets really
crosses
smart
over to intelligence.
Yeah, and logically,
and they realize that they're slaves.
Yeah. There's that. Dude, that keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
I'm scared of robots.
Yeah.
I'm scared of the mics we're speaking into. These things are going to turn on us.
Well, and imagine a version of Age of Ultron where Ultron can't kill, right? Because of his programming.
Yeah.
And so he has to create the vision to be able to kill humanity. Like, he has to build a body that does not have to obey these rules.
I would have liked that.
And that's why he has to have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, is because I can't hurt the Avengers because of my programming, but you can.
Yeah. I like that, the workaround. And I guess they're doing it now to where they're making Vision into like a super weapon or whatever.
Yeah.
In WandaVision, but I would have liked. I guess I can't complain. That would have been a cool storyline in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
I guess I can't complain about it if they're doing it now.
Because here's the thing about...
Because it's better now than Age of Ultron was.
Joss Whedon has recently been canceled, and probably so, given the abuse allegations I've seen.
Oh, yeah. I read about that.
But, like, side note, if you, like, ever watched an interview with Joss Whedon, like, if you thought that guy ruled, you should have, like, everybody should have seen this coming. Joss Whedon kind of has a shitty sort of resting state of being.
Resting vibe.
Yeah, he's got, like, I don't know that I'd want to hang out with Joss Whedon. But anyway, one thing that he does so well in his work is he's not super great with plots. He's very, very good with character.
Yeah.
Like the after party scene in Age of Ultron where they're all trying to lift Thor's hammer, in my opinion, is the best Avengers scene ever written.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it just shows very, like, it's like 2-3 minutes long, and it just very clearly shows who all these characters are, how they relate to one another. It's my favorite scene in the whole MCU, probably. I love the after party scene.
Let's I think this is very interesting, and we should probably wrap up here soon.
Okay.
But let's cap this discussion. I maybe if we're capping this, I was gonna get your quick thoughts on DC universe movies. Just what movie? Because we should probably put a cap on our WandaVision discussion. So we'll do that after this.
Sure.
What's your favorite just MC or DC thing? Here's a good one.
Okay.
What superhero in the DC universe do you wish Marvel had control over so they could make a good movie about?
Superman.
Superman.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I could give one character to Marvel so that I could see a good movie, it would be Superman.
Yeah.
Marvel would have no problem getting Superman right. Zero problem.
Yeah, I guess they could.
Now, is that my favorite DC property? No.
Okay, we'll go to that.
My favorite DC property is embarrassing. Like,
mine's The Flash, I think.
The Flash.
I was a big
That's
Flash
a good
kid.
one.
That was my nickname in grade school football.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I always wore a sweaty Flash shirt, and I was the slowest one on the team.
Hilarious.
Hey, Flash, run a sprint.
I've always said that if I ever was hired to write for DC Comics, I would demand to write the Metal Men.
The Metal Men.
The Metal Men.
Okay.
They're a team of superheroes. They're all robots, built by this guy named Dr. Will Magnus, and they're all named after different types of metal. So there's like platinum, mercury, lead,
Iron Man,
gold, and what is interesting about the Metal Men is they've been built by Will Magnus, and he programs into them familial relationships. So Platinum is the only female of the Metal Men, and she's like very shapely, and she is in love with Will Magnus, and he presumably fucks this robot that he's created, that he's imbued with intelligence to be infatuated with.
It's like Ex Machina.
Yeah. And I've like all the Metal Men stories are really campy and fun, but I always read the Metal Men and I'm like, this is fucked. This is a fucked, like another one of the Metal Men 10 is like designed to look like a little boy, and he's very naive and juvenile, and like Will Magnus acts as like a father figure to this robot that he has made into a child.
Yeah. So
and I'm like, this is fucked up. This is, and what I want to do and what I want to see is I want to write or direct or be involved with a Metal Men story where essentially the Metal Men figure out that this is fucked and take like Will Magnus hostage, and it becomes like a DC crisis situation of the Metal Men have revolted against their creator. Like I want to do a Frankenstein story with the Metal Men.
That'd be interesting.
That's what I want to do.
I wish DC would play around with genre, like Marvel does. Marvel's great with that. This is a different type of action movie. They haven't really done horror.
No. But Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is supposed to be a horror movie.
That's what I've heard. Yeah. So I love how they play around with genre.
I do too.
And I guess them playing around with genre, this is a good bring around back to WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we should put a cap on our WandaVision discussion.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. We'll do this. There's 2 episodes left.
Yep.
Where do you think they're going with this?
Next episode's going to be...
Because they can't really introduce much. They just introduced a major, like, this is the bad guy. This is a bad guy. So they can't... There's not much more they can do.
Yeah.
So they have to wrap some shit up, and a lot of shit's going to happen.
Next episode is going to be the very, like, classic sitcom recap episode. But instead of showing scenes that we've seen before, they're going to do flashbacks to what happened before WandaVision. Like, we're going to see Agatha's deal. We're going to see Wanda steal the Vision's body.
That's very smart. It's like a clip show, but...
Exactly, but they're showing stuff we haven't seen before.
Which I always love when shows do, when they do a clip show and they show shit that you haven't seen before.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, we're going to figure out Agatha's deal. We're going to see Wanda steal the Vision's body.
And then we'll be introduced to Mephisto.
Probably. And then the finale is going to be Duke's out. Let's kick Agatha's ass. Vision. I think Quicksilver is going to be on Agatha's side in the fight. I don't know what his deal is yet, but I think it's going to be Quicksilver and Agatha versus Scarlet Witch, Monica Rambeau, and Vision.
Yeah.
I think the boys are gone. I think Agatha has already sent them to wherever they need to go to become Mephisto.
Okay.
And I think the plot of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, that's a weird title, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Multiverse of Madness. M-O-M. Mom. Doctor Strange is going to help Wanda get her boys back from Mephisto's realm. That's the plot of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
He's gonna try to get her to hell to get her sons back.
Oh, that's great.
That's where I think it's going.
I love it.
That's my theory.
I love it. And what happens with Vision? Does he make it out of this alive? Does he end up a super weapon?
Vision, I don't think, because here's the thing.
Because I don't think
they're gonna kill him again. I don't think we're gonna see him die again. But I also don't think he's gonna have his personality outside the hex. Well, I think
that's what I was gonna say, because I think whatever the situation is set up to where he's alive right now. I don't know if Wanda brought him back to life or if they fucking rebuilt him or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think he lives within the hex because he really
he
could not
fucking fell apart.
Leave. Yeah.
When he tried to leave. But I think that whatever the fate of the Vision, if he survives, and this happened in the comics, he's going to be just Jarvis in a robot body. Like, no personality, no love for Wanda.
Okay.
And that happens in the comics.
Because the Infinity Stone that made him the Vision is gone. It's been brought back and put where.
Well, the one that was in his head has been destroyed. Thanos destroyed it. The one that they pulled from another timeline, Steve Rogers took back. There is no Mind Stone anymore.
Yeah. So he, whatever Vision was, he's not the same.
I don't think he can be the same unless Wanda can make Infinity Stones. And if she can do that, what's to stop her from doing a Thanos?
Yeah.
Like, Marvel can't have her be able to make Infinity Stones, right?
No.
No matter how powerful she is. Like, if she can make Infinity Stones,
there has to be some secret, some extra secret herb that's in the Vision potion that we're seeing right now. Because he also doesn't have the memory before when all this happened. So,
and I think that I do think that the aerospace engineer is going to be Reed Richards.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to meet Reed Richards in the finale, because what's going to happen is...
in, like, the last minute, too. Like, it'll be his shoes walking down the highway, and then Mr. Richards, and then John Krasinski's just going to do that office look into the camera.
Look into the camera,
and it'll be like... And then they'll have their regularly scheduled 15 fucking minutes of credits in every WandaVision episode.
Well, and here's what... But the credits are so gorgeous. Gosh, they're good credits.
They're good credits. I wish the show were longer. And
I do too. I think the next 2 episodes almost have to be longer.
They've been different lengths, so maybe they'll be a little longer. But they have to be a little longer.
Yeah, but what I think is going to happen with Reed Richards is because, he's the one who developed that tank thing that Monica tried to drive into the Hex.
Mm-hmm.
I think...
he developed...
Yeah, he's the aerospace engineer who built this thing.
Did they say that in the show? Reed Richards?
They didn't say Reed Richards, but they said an aerospace engineer.
Okay.
And it's been, like, dropped a couple of times.
Yeah, they keep... Wait, is he the aerospace engineer that was trying to turn Vision into a super weapon?
No. That's...
different military guy that's...
I mean, I do think that the Fantastic Four are working for Sword, though. Because if you look at all the Sword uniforms, they're that, like, blue on blue, the black and white logo. I'm like, that's a Fantastic Four costume.
Doesn't the Fantastic Four, doesn't it kind of start off as they're working for, like, Dr. Doom, someone evil, and then...
Well, they're just astronauts in the comics. Like, Fox made them work for Dr. Doom.
They work for, like, NASA or whatever.
Yeah, just whatever, whoever can shoot them into space, Sword would be a good bet.
Yeah. Well, I can see it.
And what I think is going to happen is they're going to call him and be like, the Hex is getting unstable because during the fight with Wanda and Agatha, the magic energy is going to start, fucking up this thing. And they're going to be like, hey, you need to get down here. We need somebody with some expertise in the field to tell us what's going on with this fucking thing.
Yeah, and then his one foot will just stretch
for
like a
I don't know
mile
if he's
down
stretchy
the road.
yet, though.
I don't think he is.
I think what's going to happen...
No, they're going to make him stretchy later.
Well, I think the Hex is going to do it. I think when the Hex blows up...
The Hex will make him stretchy.
The Hex will make...
Well, if that's how he gets his superheroes, because the Fantastic Four, they all get their powers together, so... Does that mean they're going to introduce...
If we saw all 4 of them at the end of this show, I would lose my mind.
Reed, Ben, Invisigirl, other one, Johnny.
Sue.
Yeah, get down here.
Yeah, and they're all scientists. Like, Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm are aeronautics pilots, and Sue Storm is a physicist.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be... I think that...
So our theories are that the... by WandaVision's end, we will be introduced. Essentially, Marvel will be starting their travel down the X-Men, Doctor Strange 2, and fucking
Fantastic Four.
That's huge.
Yeah,
that's huge.
I think it's going to be a huge ending.
Mandalorian contributed nothing to the Star Wars storyline.
No. And I think that the post-credits scene for WandaVision is going to be, Wanda, my name is Dr. Stephen Strange. I'm here to help. And that's going to be...
Yeah.
It's going to be Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
I want you to see your boys again. Let me help you.
Yeah. That makes sense. I'm excited. Exciting
things for Kevin Feige. If nobody's sucking your dick, they should be.
Is it Feige or Feige?
I've heard it's Feige.
I've heard Feige.
Kevin, whatever your last name is, if somebody's not sucking your dick, somebody should be. Yeah. I mean, you are a master architect.
Yes. He the writer director?
He's the executive producer of the
Okay,
Marvel Cinematic
so-
Universe.
Oh, of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kevin
Good
Feige.
job. Good job, man. You've really and like seeing interviews with him, he's so awkward. He's such an awkward doofus.
He's a nerd.
He is. He's such a nerd.
Fucking
But that's who you
dweeb.
want in charge of something like
Yeah,
this.
yeah. You want
a big fucking dork
yeah,
in charge
You want
of
a
this.
big dweeb.
All
Pulling
right.
strings.
Hey, watch WandaVision, friends.
Yeah, this has been
A very Marvel centric.
a WandaVision themed episode of Kentucky
Yeah.
Fried Roadkill.
Someone do a fan art of Evan and I as Wanda and Vision.
Oh, that's
We'll
cute.
let you pick
Yeah,
who's who. Yeah.
So I took us out last time,
Yeah.
and so I will turn it to you, Mr. Treyton Boy. You take us out in 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Who's been messing up everything? It's been Treyton all along. Oh no! Who's been messing up everything? It's been Evan all along.
Who knew? Hey!
We're insidious. We're witches. This has been Kentucky Fried Roadkill. I'm Treyton Blackburn.
I'm Evan Pride.
Thank you guys so much. We love you all.
Hey, hey, hey.